to you by Grow Generation. Today's episode of the Cantina is: whether on Dagobah or Tatooine you are, everything you need to grow right where you are, they have. Later in the episode, more on them you will hear.
Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed. Man. So, thank you to our outstanding sponsors over at Grow Generation and the great introduction there from the little green guy in the swamp. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cantina. I honestly can't tell you if this is Friday or Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you're listening, but thanks for listening. And the show usually does hit on Fridays, including the occasional live show. So check that out. Best way to do that: subscribe to the YouTube channel and our podcast channels. Just search LRM Online Podcast, and there you go. And if you are super new to the show, you might not know that my co-host is this Scottish guy, not anywhere near me, like Scottish, like living in Scotland, and his name's Cam. Well, what's up, bud?
Hey, thanks for that remarkably astute introduction. It's me.
Yeah, I figured, every now and then doing like a reset type intro, like
if no one's ever listened to us before. So yeah, if this is the first time you've ever listened to us, this is Kale and Cam. We talk about Star Wars, and both have differing views, but also quite reasonably aligned views on the things we like and don't like. And yeah, for the next however long it takes us to get through today's kind of content, we'll be talking to you about Star Wars, and we will do so every week if you want to listen to us, and that includes all the latest news that's happening in the world of Star Wars as we find it.
And we really try to focus on I don't want to say like real versus fake news or anything like that, because look, there's a lot of content creators out there, YouTubers and people with like subscription things and all sorts of stuff that they say a lot of things about Star Wars, and then
there's a lot of people that talk absolute bullshit about Star Wars. They transplant their own opinions onto what the current narrative is to do with Star Wars. We don't do that. If we give you our opinions, we tell you they're just our opinions.
Yes.
And what we, just play it straight with what we actually hear.
And we will be 100% clear if we are discussing a rumor with validity, meaning it's come from a source that we've known to have a higher hit to miss ratio, or if we're entertaining. Oh yeah,
because we have a pretty good hit ratio for Star Wars as well.
Yeah. But like if we cover someone else, they break something, we'll say, hey, this is coming from a good or
to be more common. Yeah.
Exactly. And then if it's a fun rumor, a what if, like we don't think this is going on. This is, maybe a source did say this, but it was water cooler talk or something. Those types of fun what ifs, and we'll be clear about that. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that got on my nerves, Cam, is deliberate misinformation. There was a person that kept saying on almost every video that Filoni and Favreau are part of Obi-Wan, and at one point was saying Andor. And there was someone.
That's as far as we know, that's not true.
Exactly. And someone kept commenting, no, they're not. No, they're not. And then the story that KRT broke, and then we kind of peeled some layers off ourselves, and our source confirmed that a theory you and I had about, the original show scripts
went from becoming a
movie
into a show, and ultimately that quality wasn't good enough.
Right, and that indeed Feige and Favreau looked at them and at least gave opinions, but that's it.
Yeah.
And
because
finally,
the situation had presented itself in that
exactly.
way,
Yeah, it was an opportunity. I don't even know.
And as we've said before,
can't even say for certain.
Favreau and Feige tell you something, then you should be listening.
You listen, yeah. At least listen, hear them out fully, yeah. And we don't even know if it was literally someone seeking out Feige, or if it was just by chance.
It might have been Kathleen Kennedy throws them a script at some point and says, I'm not sure about this, tell me what you think. And then they come back and say, yeah, we're not sure about it either. Yeah, that's what I thought. And, it could be as simple as that. We don't have the finer detail on that, no.
Exactly. So this particular content creator eventually starts after all that comes out, and this person on their channel keep telling them no. They finally changed their tone because they seem so desperate. Yeah. It's we know that. I think they say we know that Favreau has. I think the last video I saw of theirs was Favreau has given his opinion in the past, or has been involved in the past, or so, like having to change it around a bit. But what gets me is that you've got this extreme love and devotion, and this extreme hatred and desire for destruction within Star Wars. And some of these
people I think there's
that feed
fans
into
out there
it
at the moment that kind of like, because Star Wars hasn't went the way they want it to, they want to watch the world burn, so they want it actively to kind of fail at this point until somebody realises that it should have been the way they wanted it all along. And this is coming, you have to remember, listeners, from two people who haven't been particularly happy with the way things have been going up until recently.
God, no.
If you look back in any of our content, we really hadn't been happy since the 80s. So, so we're not...
Movie-wise,
Star Wars fans that just say, if you put Star Wars in something that's great. We don't think that, and we don't always agree with each other either. But there is this section of people who have decided that's it from a certain point, and everybody picks a different point. These extremists pick a different point. It was from the day I watched Phantom Menace. It was the day Rian Johnson turned up on set on The Last Jedi. It was the day Disney bought. There's a day, right? And from that day forth, they won't give any more money to Star Wars, and they'll lambast it. But what's always amazes me is if you watch and you if you're curious enough to hang around these people for long enough, and you can handle it, is that they will consume everything that is Star Wars. So if something new comes out, they're all talking about what happened, and picking holes in it that night. So they're still consuming the content, they're still paying for it, probably. Unless they're pirating that content, but they seem to want it to fail as well. It's a very strange situation. At the end of the day, we want, Hell and I anyway, we would like better Star Wars than what we've had under Disney so far, excluding probably The Mandalorian and that. But at the same time, this is where we are. We have to be realists and just hope for better content going forward, which so far we just always have to be positive and hope that's what we're getting coming along, don't we?
Yeah.
Until it's not, and then look, if it's not, we'll say we didn't like that.
Yeah. And here's one of the good things, I guess. You've dabbled in entertainment outside of journalism only, like in actual, like you wrote a great article on Ed Brubaker, who I really like, and I highly suggest everyone check out lrmonline.com. It's not a Star Wars piece; it's a writers / Marvel piece. But you and I, we get to come at this from some unique points. You've got a foot in entertainment, a foot in journalism, and then a foot in being a Gen X Star Wars fan.
OG.
Just barely missing out being old enough of an Xer to see the 77 in theaters and
born at that point. Couldn't have done that. No, just for reference, the first one I saw in theaters was Jedi in '83, but I'd seen the other two in home video before we saw that.
Yep. And then you got me, one of the older and millennials raised by like Gen X cousins and my incredibly young last of the baby boomer parents, and my dad was all into Star Wars, and then I've got my very unique army brat upbringing, your European, your experiences as an adult, my experiences as an adult in the military, both in garrison and I've deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan a few times, and all of that gives us some really unique angles at Star Wars to look at things, because it's all about like certain amounts of suspension of belief.
I mean, you if you're someone that can't go any kind of suspension of beliefs, you wouldn't like Star Wars in the first place. What we liked, for example, was that it had the right mix. It didn't make sense, but it had the right mix to kind of hook you in, and that's an important kind of, that you keep that balance in any kind of entertainment. Fantasy's the same, sci-fi's the same, whatever tone you're aiming for, you have to kind of find that fine line and stick to it. Would it be fair to say Star Wars has not always done that? Yes. I mean, I think we just have to look at, I think a lot of the time the prequels is an example of that.
Yeah, you know what, this segment that we're kind of doing right now, I might even put it in the title. This is like the state of Star Wars, guys. It's a big picture that we can only kind of take a snapshot look at it. Right now, we know of a couple of really exciting projects coming up outside of the Mandalorian, and I say they're exciting, knowing that, first off, I hate spending time between episodes 3 and 4, right, Cam? Personally, I hate it.
I just don't like anything that I've particularly seen from that period yet, but because I mean, obviously we're going with Andor and Obi-Wan, that's why I'm more excited for Obi-Wan, because that's the shit I want to know about from that period, what Vader and Obi-Wan were up to, the main sort of dudes at that time. I'm less interested in what the fledgling rebellion were up to. We've kind of seen that before in Rebels, we've seen it in Rogue One. It's got. I'll probably, hopefully, enjoy Andor, but it doesn't excite me the same way Obi-Wan does, or any of the Mando kind of verse content that's coming after that.
And there you guys go, right there. Or I think the idea of Andor being a thriller, spy, swashbuckling adventure type thing is appealing. I don't want to see, like you said, a fledgling alliance type thing. This should be Andor, the rebel intel guy.
Yeah,
this
a
should
bit
not
darker
be.
is what I would,
Yes.
I always say that, don't you? Whenever someone ever asks me if some Star Wars, what would you like to see? My answer always a little bit darker. And that's from a fan of
and
The
why
Empire
not?
Strikes Back, which is kind of
Yes.
conversely the darkest and the funniest of Star Wars movie in my opinion. But anyway, that's quality for you.
You got
but,
it.
Star Wars always interests me when they do go a little bit darker and still tread on that, because Star Wars should always be PG-13. It's that's what's been established. I'm not in calls for they should give us R-rated Star Wars content and stuff like that. It just doesn't really kind of what would they get? What for would they want? Is it sex? Is it violence? I don't get what we would want added into that kind of universe, because swearing's not really particularly appropriate either. It just,
and
you
they've
just
got their
don't
own
need it.
swear words like blast,
they can,
and Sith spit.
They can basically curse away at PG-13 all they
Damn
want.
Hell, yeah.
So as long as they're kind of treading on that fine line, then darker always appeals to me. So there is an appeal to Andor if that's the way it goes, and we see the kind of, because when we see Cassian Andor at first in Rogue One, he kills that informant. That's one of the first things he does, because that guy's a risk now. Do you know what I mean? That's proper, behind enemy lines spy stuff we're talking about. I'm almost looking for something John Le Carre, if that makes sense, from Andor and the Star Wars universe. I don't expect to get that, but if it aims closer to that,
think we will.
Well, if it aims, I mean, John Le Carre's a kind of master at that genre, but the kind of Cold War or Tom Clancy, I don't think we're going to get quite that level, but pushing there.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, the Star Wars PG-13 equivalent.
Well, I hope so. That's what I hope for.
Yeah. So and then Obi-Wan, I've got my reservations because I don't care to see Vader again or Anakin in any fashion,
especially those as actors,
Christensen.
basically. Yeah, because it gives you bad memories of the prequels.
Right, and while I would have loved Obi-Wan a few years ago, it's like already Solo and Rogue One and now Andor and Obi-Wan, and I don't even watch Rebels because I don't want to spend time there. I don't care about that part of it. But there are some potentially good stories and or Obi-Wan. And then we've got things going further down the line with Book of Boba Fett,
post Return of the Jedi,
season.
sort of Mandoverse stuff, all the stuff that's set sort of 5-6 years after Return of the Jedi, which obviously we've had Mandalorian season 1, season 2. We're getting obviously the Book of Boba Fett. We've got Rangers of the New Republic. We've got which we think starts filming soon, Ahsoka. We don't know anything about Rangers of the New Republic in terms of when or anything like that. Mando should be filming now, basically. If it's not going, it's almost away.
It should be soon.
Because it was supposed to be basically the same time as Obi-Wan, which is 100% filming, and Andor is still filming at the moment as well, and it's in the UK.
It's after shoots, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't know enough detail. We just keep seeing enough set videos that are recent enough with actors on set, but maybe it's not the main actors. It could be, pick-up shots, things that they want to do. But recently we've seen some stuff with some Imperial officers and outfits, and what was a shopping centre. And it just looks as if they're using that to kind of fill in for whatever world and whatever place they're supposed to be on, obviously, at that time, to make it look as if it's an Imperial place. I mean, we expect to see plenty of the Empire in this period, especially in a show like Andor, let's be honest.
Yeah. I'll say this. It's very, very weird. The radio silence on the film side. Like, I know that
happened yet, though, Kyle. I mean, they're not shooting yet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, not even shooting. Not. I mean, there is. We all. Star Wars is such an.
Finished yet, though. I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but we've not heard anything to say the script is finished. So if they're still putting the kind of ins and outs together on it, then they wouldn't, next we would hear about casting, and that's when we'll start finding out about, when it's maybe planned to shoot.
We don't know director. We don't know. All we know, Patty Jenkins writing and producing, right?
No, she's directing as well.
No, she's directing. Yeah. That's right. We don't. But is she right? Well,
no, they never said
there's a position.
I believe that. I just have a feeling that Gary Whitta might be involved in this one.
Right.
Just for a few hints that were said, but I've no solid evidence on that. But no, someone's writing it. She said, something about you find out who's writing it eventually. Do you know what I mean? So I'm assuming that's kind of still happening behind the scenes, going back and forth to her and what her vision is, and kind of getting the script right at the moment. So I don't think we even have a proper shoot date for that, or certainly not one that they've announced. But I'm guessing.
No, but we know when it's supposed to come out. 23 December 23.
We're only in April sort of 21 at the moment, and the way it's not like the old days when they were making the prequels and it took 3 years to make these films. It doesn't take that long. If you look at how long it took just to kind of put the Rise of Skywalker together, for example, which is much higher budget than I guess than what Rogue Squadrons will be.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, I could see it. Just guess. Maybe going under cameras by the end of this year at some point. And still, no problem at all making that date. I'm guessing they're still working on the kind of scripting process for it at the moment.
The only reason why I bring it up, and it's from a PR standpoint, and the fact that we are going to be like, think about it, we got Star Wars movies every year from 15 to 19, right? Yeah 15 to 19.
Not very good ones.
Just not very good ones, and it will be a 4-year break almost to the day between the Rise of Skywalker
and intentional. It's not as if they went from Rise of Skywalker with the intention as we're going to leave this, because as we know, they were going ahead with the
21
the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, and
they were going to have just 22? A 1-year break to 21.
I thought it was
22?
22 that it was coming out.
I thought it was 21,
because they were still
23.
just developing it at that point, and then of course that just died before it ever even came to fruition.
I still think most of it went to the High Republic.
And from there, they basically had to come up with a new plan. So given that plus the
dog,
plus
no.
the dog. Hey, Chewie, shut up.
Yeah.
So given the COVID stuff as well, they would have had to consider, right? Okay, we've got ideas here, but when are we actually going to push ahead with these, and what's everybody else's schedule like? So with for Taika Waititi, I think we found out about that long before we were ever supposed to find out about that. I'm not even sure if they would have told us about that in the Investors' Day if it wasn't for the fact that it was just out there so long before, because they don't really, they don't normally announce things that far out with that much detail. Same with Kevin Feige's movie, once the cat was out the bag, it was kind of like, they keep asking him about it, and he's getting no news. Basically, we don't even have a kind of potential release date for that at the moment. So,
nope.
I'm guessing it's maybe the one after Watitis, but I genuinely, that it's just totally a guess at this point. So
and
yeah,
that's what I'm kind of getting at.
4-year gap, but hopefully that's because things are going to get better now.
Right, but
they needed it.
From again the PR point, Lucasfilm knows that the film side of things is suffering, while the Disney Plus side of things for the moment is doing better, and I think it would be smart of them to start talking as much as they can. Like you said, you've got a writer you think that they're going to bring in. That's a great, easy thing to announce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what if they change their mind? What if, they need to make a writer change late in the day? Maybe they're not kind of prepared to let us do that yet, and
you kind of got to start doing something, because
I don't know.
People are itchy for information because they're worried about Star Wars.
They've announced it. It's still years away before we get this film. I'm just guessing it'll be like the end of this year, maybe even the start of next year before Rogue Squadron starts to shoot. And we're not going to really find out the way things work now. We're not going to find very little about it until production starts. That's when leaks tend to happen, because that's when, everything needs to staff up and they bring in more people. And some of those people decide to pass information to A, B, and C, and that's how this works. It's not Kathleen Kennedy or Dave Filoni that's picking up the phone to I don't know, StarWarsScoops.com and saying, "Hey, I've got a good one for you."
No, I'm talking like official news. I'm not talking.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that. I just think it's too early to give us anything other than what they've given us at the moment, until they know more, until they can say it's going to start shooting here, there. And even then, we tend to find that stuff out through the grapevine. They never announce, like, this is when we're starting shooting this. We find out what the production name is, and we tell everybody else, this is when Star Wars Rogue Squadron starts shooting. And when they don't announce casting, they don't announce casting for these things. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's like a major lead role, and they want to start
the whole cast of Obi-Wan was announced.
Yes, exactly. Once they're ready. But how much of that cast were rumoured, and we found out about it, one or two. So out of all that cast that were thingied for Obi-Wan, what we'd obviously ourselves broke the scoop on Hayden Christensen way before anyone else, then confirmed that he had signed up, so we were first on that one. I'd also heard rumours of Joel Edgerton, and that seemed like an obvious one, so it was like one of those rumours you thought somebody might, is that somebody just making that up because it's obvious that Owen would be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. But that one checked out. Other than that, there was no really hints at any of the rest of that cast at all, And then they announce it.
And most of
that's what they want. They want us to be raving and ranting about it when they decide to do the press release, and then they send us materials, and they say to us, "Hey, here's our cast list," and some of the bigger outlets, they say, "Hey, do you want an interview with any of these stars now?" When they're ready, it's on their terms. And I think we're too early for all that for Rogue Squadron.
That's business as usual for them, and my point is that business as usual hasn't worked for them, and the people sometimes look at the lack of information, and the longer there's no information on something, the worse that it gets. You take that mentality, and you're right, you shouldn't have that. We don't do that with Marvel. We want it, but we don't expect it.
We very rarely. I mean, this is between WandaVision and Spider-Man Far From Home was the longest we've ever spent with Marvel content, because they were already moving full steam ahead. Star Wars is in a different position, but they have the Disney Plus stuff to keep all of the Star Wars fans engaged while it gives them time to organise what's happening in the movie stuff. I mean, there's nobody sitting there going, there's no more Star Wars movies. I mean, how long did you go with it getting a new Star Wars movie? Me personally, I went most of my life and never believed we would ever get a Star Wars movie again.
Ever. And then
found the same thing.
What we got.
Same thing again. And again, we were surprised by that. So, I remember the day that they announced Disney had bought Lucasfilm, and my mate texts me, says, "You heard then about Disney buying Lucasfilm and that they're going to release Star Wars episodes 7, 8 and 9, and I'm like, mate, it'll never happen now, do you know what I mean? Lucas is getting too old to do all that sort of stuff, blah, blah, blah. There was literally no rumours about that at all, and then he's like, no, look at this, and he sent me a link, and I'm like, oh yeah, do this actually happened? What the hell is going on here? So you never know sometimes with these things, but this is not a bad content route in terms of movies of just a few years for me.
But when you have all of this negative press around your company, and you have
can't do anything about it. All you can do is release better
everything
products.
From the High Republic and YouTube shutting off comments and dislikes because people blasting down High Republic content and stuff with Kennedy, stuff with John, everything, man, dude. The fandom
doesn't matter if you're running it at the moment. All you can do is the only thing you can do is make sure that whatever you put out next is the best quality it can be, that you don't set people's expectations until you've got something to give them. There's a reason why most of the information that we sometimes get that's been leaked doesn't always make sense, and it's vague because it maybe hasn't been finalised yet. They've not put the finer detail to it. So you hear something, and it doesn't sound good, but the end result actually does. Famously, like, people absolutely poo-pooed the plot of Endgame. When you read it as a summary, it sounded awful. And people were like, is this it? Honestly, is this it? But when you take it out of context, it's you can't grasp what it needs to be. That's the leak game. Sometimes people react to one piece of news and think this will be terrible, and you're always going to get that. People do that even with the Marvel side, but the thing that keeps Marvel going is they keep producing stuff where people go, yeah, I enjoyed that. That's what shuts people up. That's what Star Wars needs to do, is just keep producing good quality stuff that people go, I really enjoyed that, and want to talk about the positive aspects here, and then the negative stuff will just disappear over time.
Will it?
And it will become inconsequential because you're still making plenty of money and people like the content.
What if the content that's making the money isn't the content that certain people want to see make the money anyways? I think it's important, like you said, for Lucasfilm to deliver as much complete and finalized information as possible. But looking at writing time, pre-production, set building, logging, reserving time for.
Don't get me wrong. I'd rather get little bits. Snippets. I'd rather they were a little bit looser with some of the stuff that doesn't really matter. It's not spoilery because it gives us something to talk about. I feel like recently there's been so little genuine Star Wars news since that. All it has been the odd tidbits and rumours, and most of that's been about stuff we know about already. It's not been anything new. Because the production train's rolling along, so getting some official nods and teases might be good.
Like a good, that's what I've been trying to say.
May
it's
4th?
Like a PR.
May 4th's coming up. Kyle, could we be getting something? And
maybe
let's cards on the table. We've heard some stuff. We're not going to come out and do the whole, we're going to see trailers on this in case we're wrong, because it's 50-50 for me, honestly. See, when it comes to Lucasfilm especially, and Marvel, or just Disney in general, they chop and change these things right to the last minute. So I'm never going down a road of saying a trailer's definitely coming again. But I've heard we could get possibly something longer for Andor.
Maybe like a teaser or B-roll or
something like that. I don't know. I mean, again, just, no details at all. And maybe something for Obi-Wan as well, but much shorter.
Yeah, because they've done that often.
And even for Obi-Wan, do you know what would excite fans for Obi-Wan? All they would have to do is show a BTS, Hayden and Ewan speaking to each other on the set. Boom.
Yeah.
Fans go wild. Marketing hyped up. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't tell you anything because they both are officially announced. We know they're in it anyway. It tells us absolutely nothing if you see them just meeting in this corridor and somebody takes a picture of it or takes a wee short video of it or something like that. That's the kind of thing I would hope to see, because I think it's too soon to see anything substantial for Obi-Wan. But I'm hoping we might get to see some actual footage, actually of Andor, which we've seen some small snippets of before, so we know there's some proper footage exists. So that would be nice, but again, won't count my chickens on that one, because at the end of the day, there's also the hype surrounding the Bad Batch, and that's the big thing that they have announced for obviously May the 4th, is we're getting that big 70-minute premiere. Kyle, are you going to watch the Bad Batch? Are you going to try and stick it out and see what you think?
I don't know. I've
watched
been
the
told
premiere
that I need to see stuff, and that I've been told I don't need to see stuff. So it's like,
you can read Wikipedia at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? See if there's something you don't understand, read it. If you can't be bothered, go back.
I'll probably check out the premiere.
And you never know, it might interest you enough to go back and watch some other stuff. So listen, before we kind of sign off, there is one thing I do want to talk about, a bit of news I heard this week.
Well, we weren't going to sign off. We were going to segue to our great sponsor before we get to that wonderful Dame Duty Dench story you wanted to so talk about, you God blessed evil UK crown bowing lord loving. I'm joking.
Just cut to the commercial.
Hey guys, check out this awesome message from the people over at growgeneration.com.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. The Grow Generation commercial team is armed with industry-leading professional consultants. Grow Generation's team will help you fully manage any size or scale project. They offer turnkey facility designs, cultivation room design, and on-site project consultation. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
And after I have severely defeated and destroyed Cam's heart and soul, he's ready to carry on about.
Did you attack me during the break? That's what you're going to tell everyone.
The flogging you just took.
Anyways,
this
is a story I heard
today,
just for the first time. I didn't have a chance. I'm not even sure I wanted to write about this today. That's the thing, but I didn't want to talk about it. So this is some information came out about a deleted sort of concept that was going to be in the Revenge of the Sith. The Rise of Skywalker. I keep getting them mixed up because of the TROS thing. I must have been dyslexic in a former life. Originally, at one point anyway, they had this idea that Rey would go, for some reason which I don't think they made clear or didn't know themselves, that Rey was going to be looking for the creator of the Millennium Falcon at some point, and she would go to this random place, who knows where it is, and she would meet, and it would be this woman, and they had Judi Dench in mind as for kind of what they wanted that role to be. This idea was obviously abandoned before they got to filming. No one probably has ever even approached her and asked her to do it or anything like that. It is an abandoned idea, if you like, before it got there. But at one point that was there, and that's after the point Colin Trevorrow has left This is not Duel of the Fates we're talking about. This is after Abrams has come back in. So, you know, alright, it didn't happen. But it kind of shows me how much shit they were throwing at the wall, Kyle, on the Rise of Skywalker and just trying to see what sticks. And that's what that film feels like to me. It feels like the most unimaginative, just throw a series of set pieces at a wall and hope the action and pew pew pew, you know, it doesn't make people think too much about the plot movie. What would have been the point of going to find the creator of the Millennium Falcon? Is the Millennium Falcon a special ship, Kyle? Is it in some way special? Like, is it designed with special metals that nobody else has got? Does it have an innovative like stealth system that no other ship in the galaxy has?
I mean,
it's
just not stock.
A fucking 1300 freighter. That's all it is. They made tons of them. It's like it's like somebody having a Ford. I don't know, I'm trying to think. We've different cars in this country, so let me pick an example. Is it a Mustang?
Just say a Ford Mustang.
Ford Mustang. And you can just go into the dealer and you can buy a Ford Mustang and you can take it out. And you own a Ford Mustang, well done. And then you get some people who would tinker with that car and they would add details to it. And sometimes, you know, it would be a little bit faster, it would be souped up, you know. That's what the Millennium Falcon is. It's a standard ship, you know, probably a reasonably fast one at the time, that looks like shit because Han and Chewie have pulled it together, trying to soup it up and add bits to it all the time. So it ends up being like just a big muscle car, essentially. Do you know what I mean? The muscle car of the character. The only thing that matters about the Millennium Falcon is it becomes a character. I think for me, it's just a spaceship in Star Wars. It's Empire Strikes Back, it becomes a character because there's so much goes on with it not working and the fact that they need to get it fixed. And, you know, when they do jump into hyperspace, that's the kind of save the day point. But that's also Han's flying. It's the fact that we have the main character spend so much time in that film on that ship, etc. Then they give it a heroic moment and kind of Return of the Jedi, where it's just fast enough to escape those flames and blow up the Death Star. So we fans love the Millennium Falcon as a character because of the ship. It doesn't need to have some special history about it or something.
Nope.
Apparently they needed to get something that would help them defeat the First Order, some sort of. They probably hadn't invented it. It was probably called MacGuffinium or something like that, you know what I mean? Because they hadn't actually decided. But, well, you know, we need something to beat the... You know, you can just imagine them sitting there drawing this stuff. Yeah, they need to go to this person. That'll connect to the Millennium Falcon. The fans will like that. And then, you know, they'll have to get some weapon. She created some weapon. They're like, let's make something special about the Millennium Falcon. Fuck off. That's why J.J. Abrams should never have been involved in Star Wars in the first place. Said it before, I'll say it again. It's more evidence to me of the giant fuck up that sequel trilogy was.
I cannot agree more. Yeah, so
I didn't really give you a chance to speak much. Sweating a rant.
Right. The whole thing about the Falcon, like you said, it's not who it came from or where it was made. It's who has it and what they've done with
they're doing with it right now, you know, or what state it's in right now, you know.
That's that, and
I mean, actually, Abrams does a really good job with the ship in The Force Awakens. To me, he gets, that's one thing he does well in The Force Awakens, by making the Falcon almost a character, like by finding it in the middle of the junk pile and then they steal it and Han comes looking for it. That's one of my favourite parts of the entire sequel trilogy, you know, when they first get in the Millennium Falcon. That was him channeling something that was different but classic Star Wars at the same time. Unfortunately, he was just never able to kind of really grasp that enough, and neither were the rest of the people that worked on it for the rest of that trilogy for me. You know, fan service, but new and different. You know. Anyway,
you know,
the Mandalorian Falcom's just a ship, folks.
It's just like it goes to that idea that Disney, Lucasfilm, Kennedy, the writers' room. Look, guys, we honestly, the person to blame is the person in charge. That's Kennedy. Whether it's good, blame her for all that's good. All the billions in profits they've made under her watch. That's her credit. But all of the mistakes, the lost time, the lost directors, all of the angry fans, that's also at her feet. You know, that's the thing about being the boss, being in charge, and with the state of Star Wars, all we would like to really see, or at least Cam, you can differ with me if you need to at all, is good stories that creators are given enough freedom. We understand you guys want your cohesive universe and all that, but give your creators some room to create, and don't forget what Star Wars is. It's great to explore new things, take it to new places, but that
as long as you follow the rules
you have
of
to
the
forget
universe as well.
Yeah. You don't have to leave it all behind. It's a giant
shit in what other
universe
people have done before you.
Yeah, you know. So and on the fan side, guys, the old fans, they deserve to be here every bit as much as the new fans, and that includes EU guy. Like I'm the EU king. God damn it, I'm like the EU guy. I don't give a fuck if the only EU thing you know is the N64 Shadows of the Empire game. Dude, you're as real a Star Wars fan as anyone. Cam, do you have anything else you would like to say today about Star Wars?
No.
Outstanding. Thanks guys for listening. Hopefully we'll be getting a lot more news. Like you said, there's a lot of things that are actively in principal photography or in post. So they're in various, after shoots, ADR, VFX, things like that. Keep your guys' eyes and ears open across the LRM and soon to be Genreverse Podcast Network, brought to you by LRM Online. That's LRMonline.com, the LRM Online YouTube channel, and the LRM Podcast Network. Wherever you guys get your podcasts from, please, guys, hit the subscribe button. Give us a follow at Twitter at LRM_exclusive. Myself, I'm at @Malone on Twitter. Cam, where can people find you at?
LRM_Cam on Twitter.
There you guys go. Thank you guys so much for listening this week. We will talk to you next one, and may the force be with you.
Bye.